What's up, ladies? All right, anyway, this is Mike Roberto, founder of PricePlow. We're a tech and media company that covers the sports nutrition and dietary supplement industry. And we are today going to cover a product known as Steel Slim from one of my favorite companies, SteelFit. Now, this is it's a fat burner marketed towards women. And I'll be honest, I've never been huge into that because let's be real, anyone can take this product. It's got a pink bottle. This formula is incredible and it doesn't need to be limited to women. The long story short here is that it's not really a stimulant-free fat burner, but it is a very low stimulant / caffeine free. It's definitely caffeine free. And so if you're not willing to give up your coffee, your energy drink, or your current fat burner, or your pre-workout supplement, you want to have some caffeine, or if you're just very caffeine sensitive, but you want to have some of the fun ingredients that we get to have in our fat burners. If you're looking for a little bit of something extra from your current stack, then this is that product where there's a lot of cool things inside that stack with your pre-workout, but just there's no caffeine in here. So it's like a really good coffee topper, as I like to say. And as always with SteelFit, this is going to be a really well-dosed formula. There's 3 capsules per serving, and I'm excited about it. They always do the kitchen sink, and this video is not gonna be short. So the long and short of it is that you have a really well-dosed caffeine-free fat burner, but there are a little bit of extra stims, nothing to overlap with most other things. So that's what we're excited about. Now, SteelFit does often, not every month, but almost every month, sponsor stuff on our website, PricePlow.com. So there is a business relationship involved here. Keep that in mind. But what we love about this brand is that like I said, they throw in the kitchen sink and they have fully open labels and do a lot of fun stuff. We'll talk about them and their other products, because if anyone follows, if you follow us, I'm a huge fan of their thermogenic stimulant-based fat burner shredded steel. 150 milligrams of caffeine, not too much caffeine, but there's 10 milligrams of yohimbine in here, so I get wired in. I love this stuff. But it's not for everyone, and people are looking for, a little bit something without the caffeine. And so I like shredded steel so much, though, that I did name it my 2019 Fat Burner of the Year. And it still is my #1 rated fat burner. I go through this stuff left and right. I got a bottle back here. I got a bottle everywhere. Got a factory of shredded steel here. But today we're going to talk about Steel Slim. So let's get right into it. We're going to start at the top. We're going to go down the label. We're going to go down. We're going to start with the minerals up front. And you're going to get a little bit of a flavor of my opinions on things because I love the way SteelFit is doing things. So first and foremost, we have iodine, and that's coming from kelp, which is also listed later on the label. 150 micrograms of iodine, which is going to hit your 100% minimum daily value, the recommended daily value of iodine. This is a critically important mineral that in my opinion, we are getting a little bit iodine deficient, like low-level iodine deficient in this society. And that's horrible because this is such a critical element for thyroid. And the fact is that your thyroid is not going to be functioning properly if you don't give it a few of the things that it needs, such as iodine and L-tyrosine, the amino acid. And we actually have both of those here. And the story is this: over the course of time, we realized that people are getting huge goiters. This is like early 1900s, late 1800s, whatever. People are getting huge goiters, and it was all from iodine deficiency. So they started adding iodine to the salt. Unfortunately, these days, though, we do about 3-4 different things that just crush our iodine. First off, we add fluoride to a lot of our water, the city water, nasty tap water, add fluoride to it. Well, fluoride is higher up on the periodic table than iodine. It's more reactive, it's lighter, and it displaces iodine, and it messes up the thyroid. So we're adding fluoride. Second, everyone's using these fancy sea salts, and the sea salts don't have iodine in them. We fix the goiter problem by adding iodine to salt. We no longer do that. And at first, actually, we fixed it by adding it to the bread. Then we changed the bread to bromine and added the iodine and the salt. So that's the real story. But now no one's using the iodized salt anymore. Third, we naturally get iodine often in small fatty fish. You can get some in eggs, and you get some from sea life like kelp, which is where this is actually coming from. But no one's eating that stuff. No one's eating the small fatty fish. We're not getting enough iodine in our diets. No one's eating enough of the mineral dense food that has it. And a long story short, they started adding the bromine to the bread, another iodine displacer. Long story short, our thyroids aren't getting enough iodine, and it's tough to go from T4 to T3, the 2 thyroid hormones. We need L-tyrosine and iodine to do that, and a lot of people don't have enough iodine. So a lot of women talk about like, oh, my thyroid, I gotta get checked out. Go get your blood test. Maybe you're fine, but it's worth trying. If you take this supplement and you feel like a huge whir of energy, and you know it's not from the other like kind of stims, it might be the fact that you might be iodine kind of deficient. So I've talked about that enough. I love, and this is how I started actually talking to SteelFit. They put in iodine, same thing. They put it into shredded steel here. I was like, dude, this is such a common sense thing. Like people are having thyroid problems. They're not able to have their metabolism firing as well as it should be. Simple solution, adding this, and not enough fat burners have it. SteelFit does it, and that's really why the relationship started. You can tell I'm passionate about this one. Okay, next is selenium. And so we have, how much is the dose here? We have a 50 microgram dose of this. Now this one is more geared towards the ultra low carb dieters who are sometimes going to be selenium deficient if they're not eating like Brazil nuts, for instance, really high in selenium. Now, if you're watching this video is filmed March of 2020. Right now we're going through this whole coronavirus scare. Hopefully you're watching in the future and you kind of laugh like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that? Because it was a big hysteria thing that ended up being not that big of a deal, but we'll see how that turns out. That's my opinion, not SteelFit's. Anyway, so selenium, the reason I bring that up is because selenium might help to ward off against certain viruses like that. And it's another thing that too many people are deficient in depending on their diet. We're not having enough nutrient-dense food, and Brazil nuts is something that not everyone eats either. You need like one Brazil nut, you get enough selenium. It's like so loaded with that stuff. Anyway, so they've added it to this as well. There are probably some anti-inflammatory effects to it as well, but there's a couple studies showing that kids who are given a very therapeutic ketogenic diet were having some serious problems because it turns out they were selenium deficient. So if you're a low carb dieter, it's worth looking into like how all these minerals play out. And selenium is one that you want to have. So 50 micrograms is like, takes up zero space in the capsule, makes sense happening. And next is another mineral that is also taking up very little space, and that's chromium picolinate, 200 micrograms of chromium, and that's a solid dose. That's gonna help your insulin system work a little bit better, make you a little bit more insulin sensitive. And we need, in general, when you wanna lose weight, you wanna have your blood sugars low, more often than not. You want to have your insulin levels low. Insulin is kind of like the energy storage hormone. And when we become insulin resistant, also known as like energy toxicity by Dr. Ted Naiman, I like to call it like sugar saturation. Well, then at that point, our bodies are like just like rejecting any more like energy put into their cells and everything. They become insulin resistant. We kind of become in this toxic state. Studies show that using chromium can help alleviate that state, but at the same time, if you're stuffing your face full of cookies left and right, taking chromium isn't really gonna solve many problems, but it may help you kind of unlock a little bit of the energy unlocking process, so to speak. So it's really good to have enough chromium in the diet, and that's also going to take up like basically no space. Why these three ingredients aren't in a lot of other fat burners? Don't know, but this is why I like SteelFit. So now we get to the main list of ingredients. This is in 3 capsules, by the way. I think I said that. And the first one is 500 milligrams of L-tyrosine. Now, normally we get excited about L-tyrosine because starting at about the 500 milligram dose and sometimes a little bit higher, you get, it's an amino acid that then gives you a nice kick of some of like the happy neurotransmitters, like the dopamines and the norepinephrines and epinephrine and all that good stuff. And that's great. You might get a little bit of a focus boost, a little bit of a mood boost from it. The real reason I think it's here is for the thyroid production, the thyroid metabolite production that we need so that we can keep our metabolism going. And that's going to work alongside of the iodine. So when you see iodine and L-tyrosine together, good deal for your thyroid. I'm not a doctor, I'm not prescribing anything. If you have a serious thyroid condition, you gotta make sure you keep on your lab work and talk to your doctor, of course. But these are 2 pretty general ingredients that are smart to have supplementally if you're dieting and you're starting to restrict calories. You might not be getting enough of this stuff in your diet, and that's why it's good to supplement when you're in a caloric deficit. So you might, from those 2 ingredients alone, like the stuff I listed alone, you might get a nice kick of energy just from that. And we really haven't even gone deep into this label. Now, every time we go into SteelFit, we got these kitchen sink formulas. They're always bringing something new to the table. And like in shredded steel, we have Alluvia, a purple tea extract. In their Steel Dreams sleep supplement, they brought something in called Venetron. Pretty soon, we're gonna be talking about an ingredient called Coaxal that's in their latest Abs of Steel cream, or is it a gel? It's cream, whatever it is. And so this time, we have Cactoline. And this is actually a dragon fruit extract. And it's actually officially called, does it matter? Hylocereus undatus. I was gonna say let's get rid of that, but whatever, we'll leave it in the video. But in general, this has mostly N-methyltyramine and tyramine, which are two beta-2 adrenergic agonists, and they help kick up that like kind of fight or flight response, help your body burn a little bit of extra fat, or like actually like beta oxidize, unlock, mobilize some of that fat, and then it's up to you to actually burn it in the gym. However, these are two beta-2 agonists that we don't see a lot in like a lot of the other supplements out there, so there shouldn't be too much overlap, but they are stimulatory in nature, and they might give you a little bit of uptick of that, you know, a little bit of that energy boost, a little bit of metabolism boost, a little bit of energy expenditure increase. And that's kind of what we're going with this supplement, is a low stim or caffeine-free way of expending more energy. That doesn't mean you're going to be able, again, sit there and stuff your face with cookies, but it's going to give you a little bit more oomph to get things done in the gym. And possibly, like I would say, like all in all, like you're going to get another 50 to 75, maybe 100 extra calories burned in a day if you're lucky. But I would say 50 to 75 kind of calories per day of extra energy expenditure. And it's up to you to really like work off the fat that's beta oxidized. Otherwise, it'll probably just reattach. So cactoline is a new ingredient here, but it's really being extracted for some stuff that we've already seen before, but we don't see too often, and you're definitely not gonna have like in your coffee or anything. So again, really good coffee topper type supplement. So next up on the label, we have 200 milligrams of dandelion extract. Now, most of you who follow supplements know exactly where I'm going with this one, and it is a diuretic. So there's lots of ways. A lot of people, especially if you like go ultra low carb, you'll notice that you are just like all sorts of things are changing. You're losing water left and right because glycogen hangs onto water like crazy. Well, there's a few different ways of course, you know, tinkering with water, and you could drink a little bit less. That's never recommended. You could also just modulate carbs. You can mess with sodium, but you could also take a diuretic. You could also fast a little bit more with certain things like that, but you could also take a diuretic, and this is a more mild diuretic. It's not like a prescription type diuretic, but I definitely notice like when I use a supplement that has dandelion inside of it, there's just maybe a touch more dry mouth, and not that much or anything like that, but I notice it. And sometimes, like, you know, when I'm as a guy who usually I would say I'm 14% body fat right now. I usually like to hang at like 12 or 13, you know, but when I get down to those levels and take a dandelion based supplement at night, definitely you can notice like, oh, that's just like, you wake up just a little bit leaner and you get a good pee. Let's put it that way. But it's always smart to rehydrate after that. But it's a good way to get a little bit of that water going. And SteelFit's really this being fat burner centric. Like they're all about like that shredded, that tone look. And sometimes you need that little bit extra water to get pinched out. And that's what dandelion extract does. So nothing like earth shattering, nothing prescription or anything strong like that, but it's always appreciated. And it's in a lot of these supplements. You'll notice that a lot of these ingredients are good, but if you have like a super strong, like stimulant-based fat burner, there's just not enough room for them. You gotta save room for the caffeine and the other fun stuff and everything. So this is like a good like auxiliary supplement to attach to some of those where we have some of those ingredients. And the next one is actually 200 milligrams of green tea leaf extract. Now, if I were formulating a fat burner, I only had so much space. Like green tea, there's a ton of benefits, antioxidants, some weight loss benefits, but they're not that strong. So it's not like a first level type of fat burner supplement. I wouldn't put it in my stimulant-based fat burner, but I do put it in like this caffeine-free fat burner, just like this. And so you're gonna get a standardization of 80% catechins, 50% EGCG, and that's where a lot of the study is based upon. And so a little bit more energy expenditure, a little bit more lipolysis or fat burning, a little bit more of that beta oxidation, nothing earth-shattering. So like sometimes green tea extract is a little bit over-marketed, and I don't like that because it does have a ton of benefits. Drinking green tea is a great thing. Like it might maybe even better to drink the tea than, you know, taking some of these supplements. I don't know, but like overall, not everyone's drinking green tea all day. To me, it doesn't taste that good. I forget to take it all day. These, you know, popping 3 pills here, easy. So great to have these benefits. Just let's not oversell them, folks. It's a decent, okay fat burner. There's stronger stuff out there in the form of stimulants, but we're kind of staying away from most of those in this product. So I'm a fan, and that's why I like it here. Just let's call it what it is. It's a decent fat burning ingredient. So after that on the label, we have 115 milligrams of kelp, and that's really there for the iodine. I already gave you my rant on iodine. I don't need to go down that road again, but I'm not sure if there's any other benefits to like the other raw kelp that's out there. There might be, but overall, we're here for the iodine. So that's what the kelp's for. 115 milligrams is what is going to ultimately get you the iodine that it takes to get the 100% daily value. And then after that, now this is the ingredient that's you're most likely going to feel the most. And we have 100 milligrams of teacrine. Teacrine is a chemical cousin to caffeine, and it's a feel-good dopamine boosting one. To me though, like, so 100 milligrams of straight teacrine is going to give you a pretty good feel, in my opinion. And in a way, I do believe it's stimulatory. Some people might argue that it's not that stimulatory, but the real story for me with teacrine is that it seems to like drag out all the other stimulants that it's with. So if I were to drink coffee, if I were to drink coffee alongside of Steel Slim, I would get a much more pronounced caffeine effect that lasts a lot longer. You get like a longer whir. I don't know where that came from. You get a longer whir of energy, but no crash. And what's cool about teacrine is that you don't build up a tolerance to it. The studies show that you don't build up a tolerance. The last dose and the first dose should feel the same because there is none of that tolerance buildup. And I appreciate it for what it is. It is kind of a stimulant. Some argue it. I say it is a stimulant, but it's not like an overly strong stimulant on its own. But pair it with caffeine and it's going to get a little wild. Now here's the story though. If you wanted to do the stack of Steel Slim that we're talking about here and shredded steel, you also have 100 milligrams of teacrine in there. That's going to give you a 200 milligram dose. That's going to be quite the stack. It's gonna pop. It's going to last a long time. Like, I wouldn't take that stack anytime after 3 p.m. That's my take. That's a lot of teacrine. It's going to last a long time. It's just like caffeine's longer lasting counterpart. So after that comes 50 milligrams of my favorite stimulant-free fat burning ingredient. So much, I started cooking with it. We're talking about grains of paradise, Aframoba melagoita. And this is a member of the ginger family. I actually use this instead of black pepper a lot of times. I don't really like black pepper a lot. I love me some grains of paradise. And so it's been in all sorts of fat burners lately, even the powdered ones that taste all spicy. It's because of this, usually. And so grains of paradise, what's really cool is it helps, studies show that it helps increase the rate of turnover from your white adipose tissue, which is like the energy storing type of fat, the subcutaneous fat, to some of the brown adipose tissue, which is the healthier, more thermogenic, like hotter, but it's like the more energy using fatty acid tissue. And so the studies kind of show a good little bit of regional weight loss because of it. And I don't know, the spice is just really good, and it's part of the ginger family, and we'll get back to that as well. Overall, lots and lots of companies have been using grains of paradise, and SteelFit is no different here. If you have a stimulant-free fat burner at this point in 2020 and you're not using some sort of grains of paradise, I'm gonna have to call you crazy. 50 milligrams is all it takes. But not everyone wants that spice, but hey, we have capsules here, so you're not really gonna taste anything unless you break it open and put it in your mouth. And this is a video for women, so I don't think y'all are gonna be doing that. Now next we have a small dose, 50 milligrams of Resveratrol, which you've seen in all these anti-aging supplements and blah, blah, blah. It's in wine. It's really not that much in wine. But anyway, so Resveratrol is in these anti-aging, antioxidant supplements, and it's pretty cool for that. But the real reason it's here in a fat burner is that it might actually prevent fat, like lipid accumulation. And there are some mechanisms where it stops, like, not fast storage, but yeah, the proliferation of new fatty acid tissues from being formed. Now, again, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna be able to override this if you're eating a ton of, like, you know, soybean oil and cookies and stuff like that. And that's just like, that stuff is just gonna dominate this 50 milligrams of Resveratrol. But in general, the mechanism of action is that it helps prevent the lipid accumulation from occurring. Let's be reasonable here. Good ingredient. It's not going to override some bomb of soybean oil. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not into eating the seed oils, if you haven't noticed. Let's keep an omega-3 to omega-6 ratios high, and you will have good success. Saturated fat is not evil. Anyway, after that, we just talked about grains of paradise. We also have 40 milligrams of ginger extract as well. Now, grains of paradise has a couple ingredients like 6-paradol, 12 paradol that are like the main constituents. Ginger has 6 gingerol. And so there's all sorts of like anti-inflammatory, gut feeling, gut improving benefits that people have from ginger. And those are definitely great benefits to have. But the real reason this is here is because it's going to increase energy expenditure. It's coming up again and again in this video. It's going to increase energy expenditure by upregulating a mechanism known as PPAR alpha. And ginger is really good for that. I personally think that ginger should be in a lot more fat burner supplements. Don't know why it isn't. Grains of Paradise has kind of like made its way through. There isn't really a standardized, like agreed upon like ginger extract, and I think there should be somewhere out there because this stuff is so good. Now, I sometimes do get a little bit of heat from all these ingredients, but with a good capsulation, it's usually not too much of a deal. You just go and work out and it's gone before you know it. But that is a possibility with anything that's gonna have a few different spices in here. And here we do have the Grains of Paradise, we do have ginger, and then the last ingredient on the label, Kava Extra. But I'm not gonna skip there yet because we can't miss this one. Next up is 30 milligrams of saffron. You often see this as a cooking spice. And there's some really cool research. And this is actually the branded, trade-named form of saffron known as Saffron. But there's a study showing that 28 milligrams of it increases mood over the course of 4 weeks, and like antidepressive type symptoms. I'm not gonna say this is a cure-all or anything like that. No disease claims or anything, but a mood booster for sure. That's not why it's here. This is 30 milligrams, so it is more than that clinical dose. It's actually here for appetite suppression. And a lot of people are always asking, how do I reduce appetite? The truth is, you reduce appetite by eating foods that don't make you hungry 2 hours later, like nutrient-dense foods, mineral-dense foods, protein, all the minerals. Big fan of red meat, saturated fat, anything high in stearic acid is gonna keep you fuller longer, and none of those seed oils. Soybean oil, stay away from that. Canola oil, seed oil, canola oil, soybean oil, safflower, garbage, sunflower oil, what else? Corn oil, ugh. Cottonseed oil, ugh. Rapeseed, that's canola. Ugh. Anyway, those make you hungry. Those actually give you the munchies. They activate your endocannabinoid system. Stay away from those. Anyway, where am I going? So yeah, you stay away from those. Eat real foods that have real minerals and real protein, and you'll be less hungry. If you're eating sugar all day long, yeah, you're gonna be, as your blood sugar drops, you're gonna get hungry for more sugar. It's simple. But anyway, if you already know all that stuff and you're looking for a supplemental way, there's also a supplemental way of getting your appetite down a little bit. And saffron is one of the best ones for that. So, train derailed there for a second. I hate seed oils. We might not need all these fat burners, we wouldn't be obese. The obesity crisis never happened until all these seed oils appeared. Look for any country. SteelFit's gonna be like, all right, Mike. Anyway, so, and then finally, Kava Extra, 3 milligrams. Our last little thing on this label, and it's yet another pepper. But the good thing is, I mentioned that, sometimes you get that spice, and that's often from the supplements that have capsaicin in it, from red hot pepper extract. You get like 25 to 50 milligrams of that stuff. Ooh, heartburn city. But not with Kava Extra. This is from Glambia Nutritionals, and they are, they're using a sweet pepper extract that has a lot of the same benefits, but only 3 milligrams, none of the side effects. So you're getting a lot of the pepper extract benefits, but a better standardization that's not gonna mess with the gut. And so it's just 3 milligrams, Kava Extra. This is gonna be hopefully the future. So we do have 3 peppers in here, or 3 like spices kind of in here. So it's gonna be maybe a touch fiery, maybe a touch, but by using Kava Extra instead of hot pepper extract, you're not going to get as much. Oh, and anyway, so what that does is it increases thermogenesis, and once again, a little bit more energy expenditure. Nothing crazy. It's not like you're going to be taking every stimulant on the planet and getting that kind of energy expenditure, but it gives you a nice little uptick, and that's what we're going for here. So, big fan of SteelFit. Once again, yet another long video because they put together a freaking kitchen sink full of supplements that I love and can be very passionate about, and that's why I'm happy to be here. But overall, with SteelFit, we're always talking about new ingredients. We have one in here. We're going to talk about coaxial and that abs of steel. I haven't yet used buns of steel, and so that's where we're going to go with this next. So anyway, SteelFit, they might be a young-ish brand, but they are not a new brand. They're not run by new people. They've actually been around forever. They're owned by the same company as Protan, who does a lot of the tanning creams and lotions, makes you look all good and sexy on stage and everything. Well, SteelFit, instead, They are doing the same thing, and they do have a lot of different topicals, such as Abs of Steel and Buns of Steel, but they also have an incredible line of supplements as well. And that's how we started talking to them. It all began with iodine. It's something as simple as that. Why is that not more in our diets? I don't know. But we are big fans of SteelFit here. I appreciate it. If you're still watching, I appreciate it. I've gone off the rails a couple times. I'm back home. I love this company. I love what they're doing, and we will get the Buns of Steel going. I think we will. But the next Abs of Steel, there's a new ingredient called coaxial. So let's talk about that next. Mike Roberto, founder of PricePlow, and I'm finally out. PricePlow.com/SteelFit is where you can check it out, or SteelFitUSA.com. Instagram, they are at SteelFitUSA, and we are at PricePlow.
Welcome to PricePlow.